Hello football fans and welcome to the Casual Fan Podcast. I'm your host Ben Holmes and what a time to be alive. Playoff baseball is just around the corner. The NBA tips off in just 5 weeks. Soccer players are returning back to their clubs from international duty. And what else? Oh yeah, the NFL is back, baby, let's go! There's a 17th regular season game added to the NFL slate this season, but it's still way too short. It's like a drug that it gets you addicted, it gets in your veins, and then it makes you go cold turkey for half the year. It's just brutal, but it makes you really appreciate when it's around. I almost can't believe it's even back. We got our first little fix when the season kicked off on Thursday, and what an unbelievable start to the season. Tampa Bay narrowly beat America's team, and the return of Dak Attack Prescott. Even his most vehement fans probably couldn't have expected to see him throw for over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Tampa Bay defense that on all accounts have been expected to be the top defense of the NFL this year. I was all over Dallas +9. I said that's way too many points to give a team of the caliber of offense that the Dallas Cowboys have. They have elite weapons. Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb balled out, and I even said they could have won the game outright. That would have been +345. I stayed away from that, although it could have happened if Greg Zerline just made a few more kicks, but I digress. +9 was way too many points. I'm on Twitter at Ben's Best Bets. I posted that. If you followed that, you'd have seen it. You'd have made some money. Great. Anyway, enough looking back. Let's look ahead to the best day of the year. No, not Christmas morning, but the morning you wake up when you know you have a full slate of football games right ahead of you. You wake up, you have your cup of coffee, you make all your prop bets, and away we go. Tomorrow, NFL Week 1, Sunday, let's boogie. For seemingly decades up in Foxborough, the Patriots were heavy favorites to win the AFC East every year. And after a rare down year in 2020, there's optimism everywhere you look around this Pats team. They spent money in free agency like they haven't before. It was a very non-Patriots thing to do. And I think people are really buying into the narrative of the fact that Brady won his 7th ring down in Tampa Bay without Belichick. So now Belichick is going to have an even more of a hunger to win. As if he wasn't trying to win every game he played in anyway. So I'm not really buying into that narrative. I mean, I like them this year. I think that they did the right thing by going with a young rookie quarterback in Mac Jones. He's proven in the preseason that he can lead this team up and down the field. But even if Mac turns out to be the best Bama quarterback since Joe Namath, he's still going to struggle in his rookie year. There'll be bumps in the road, and the first bump they're going to face is this Miami Dolphins team. The Dolphins were a win away from making the playoffs last year. It was an ugly loss to Buffalo in that last week of the season, but Tua is going to be healthier this year. He'll have another year of experience under his belt. There's a new offensive coordinator who's going to cater the offense more to Tua's skill set. He won't have a veteran like Ryan Fitzpatrick breathing down his back either. So I think people are sleeping on Tua a little bit this year. They have a strong leader as a head coach in Brian Flores. And Belichick is only around 500 when facing former assistants when he faces them when they become head coaches. These teams are just very similar, and I'm getting 3 points for the Dolphins. A Dolphins team with much less turnover between this season and last than the Patriots. I would have thought the Dolphins would have to give 3. The fact that I'm getting 3, that's a no-brainer. I absolutely love it. Give me Miami. I'm also going to fade another rookie quarterback, #1 overall pick Trevor Lawrence. And it's not because of him. His luscious locks would be one of the faces of the league sooner than later. But there's a reason why Jacksonville had the #1 overall pick. And while both teams have a new head coach, at least David Culley for the Texans has been coaching in the NFL for 18 years. That's about 18 more than Urban Meyer has. He hasn't even smelt the pros. If the Deshaun Watson saga broke recently, I'd be worried about it being a distraction. But it's old news by now. Tyrod Taylor is a professional NFL quarterback. He's not going to lose the game for the Texans. He's going to make smart football decisions, and I think that's all it will take to beat the Jags. But what it really comes down to is the Jacksonville Jaguars shouldn't be favored against anyone. They're -3. Forget that. I'll take the points for the Texans. It might be the only game they win all year, but I'm taking the Texans. Now the Cincinnati Bengals are 2-11 in Week 1 games since 2008. Both those wins were on the road. Now they have great weapons on offense, but the reports coming out of camp regarding Joe Burrow's recovery from his injury, they're not very encouraging. And the current head coach has a record of 6-25-1. On defense, they brought in Trey Hendrickson and nickelback Mike Hilton, but it's still a subpar unit. And I do think the Vikings are going to have a long season with their unvaccinated quarterback situation that will cause problems for them later. I can almost guarantee you that. But for now, Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson. This should all be enough to comfortably get past the Bengals, -3 in week 1. The next game I'm going to talk to you about is the Steelers and the Bills, and I'm pretty much going to apply the same logic that I applied when I chose the Cowboys to cover. I think the Steelers are getting way too many points here. The Bills are great. Josh Allen is great. He was probably the most bet on player to win MVP coming into this year. But this will be the first season they're kind of the hunted ones. And Josh Allen is going to feel that pressure of needing to be a elite quarterback. The Steelers have a better running back situation, and as much as I love Diggs, as a unit, the Steelers have better pass catchers as well. And while both defenses are good, Pittsburgh's is narrowly better. The big question mark is that quarterback position, and that's why the Bills are getting so many points. But Big Ben showed some life in the preseason. He still could get a hit that knocks him down and knocks him out for good, but not in week 1. He should be fresh enough in that first game. I'm personally going to lay a little bit more money to move the line from +6.5 to +7.5 just to cover my base and get it past that 7 number, which I love to get it past. But I still like the Steelers +6.5. The most polarizing team this NFL offseason, in my opinion, has been the New Orleans Saints. And when I say polarizing, not only is it the Michael Thomas situation that's dividing opinions between team versus player, but also just in terms of their win total and what people expect from this New Orleans team. You hear that they're going to be much worse. You're going to hear that they're going to coast through the NFC South. There's just a much more divided opinion on this team than a lot of teams. Their over-under is 9.5 wins this year, and in a 17-game season, that means that they're going to be a smidge over 500. You're hearing that on one hand, they were almost in the Super Bowl last year, and Jameis isn't that much of a downgrade from an old, slow, noodle-armed Drew Brees, and that's true. But then there's another camp that will say no Michael Thomas, Jameis throwing too many interceptions, Sean Payton getting too cute with Taysom Hill. And that's what I don't like about the Saints. Too much unknown going on, too much variance. Whereas with the Green Bay Packers, 13-3 2 seasons ago, 13-3 last year. A bit of Aaron Rodgers drama this offseason, but now he's back. He's going to be out for blood. They brought back Aaron Jones. Devontae Adams is still there. That offense is going to be legit. They also brought in a new defensive coordinator to take care of that side of the ball, and I wouldn't be surprised if no team leads their division by as many games as the Packers win the NFC North. They could have this wrapped up by Thanksgiving, to be honest. It would be a different story if this game was played in the Louisiana Superdome. This being played in Jacksonville. It's a neutral site. Give me the Pack -3. Easy. 3 more games we're going to touch on quickly here, guys. The Panthers -4 at home is absolutely great. Usually the home team gets about 3 points in terms of where the line opens up. So with -4, I'm kind of seeing that people think these two teams are kind of similar, but the Panthers are much better in my opinion. You're noticing a trend of me fading rookie quarterbacks. There's a reason for that. They do tend to struggle in that first game, especially if they're not like the elite prospects. Speaking of quarterbacks, I love the Sam Darnold revenge factor. I think he can be a really frisky quarterback this year. Definitely a candidate of a kind of player that just needed a change of scenery, get out of New York, get out of all that drama. He's down in Carolina. He has Matt Rule as his head coach right now. A nice, steady, stable coaching staff. I think the Panthers could finish second in the NFC South this year behind Tampa. And their skill position guys speak for themselves. Robbie Anderson, speaking of revenge factors there, run CMC. You know, I'm just a big fan of this Panthers team. I think they're going to be very steady and very good this year. And I think the Jets have a long road ahead of them. So give me the Panthers -4. And the next 2 games we're going to talk about, we're going to take the favorites in both as well. The Rams line has moved from -7 to -8. I still like it for the Rams. Opening up that new stadium to fans. Sean McVay showing off his flashy, not so new quarterback in Matthew Stafford. And I think the game will get pretty ugly pretty fast. We're going to see Andy Dalton have to play from behind against this great defense. They're in win now mode, this Rams team. And they're going to give even more fuel to the Justin Fields fire that the Bear fans are trying to get going there in Chicago. They want to see Andy Dalton's ginger ass on that bench. They want to see Justin Fields. And the Rams are going to give them a reason to keep banging the door for that. Rams will take the lead early and never look back. Give me the Rams. And in the Battle of the Birds, I like the Falcons -3 against the Eagles in their home opener. I don't think the Falcons will miss Julio Jones as much as some people think. And while Matt Ryan flashed the arm strength of a 2016 Peyton Manning, I still prefer him to Jalen Hurts. I much prefer the new coaching staff of the Falcons to the new coaching staff of the Eagles. And I'm not in on the Eagles this year at all. I think it's going to be a long season for them. Jalen Hurts barely took any preseason snaps. So I think even if they do have a better season than I think, week 1 will be a struggle. And they're the games I like this week, guys. But I'm going to post all of those picks to my Twitter account at Ben's Best Bets. More do you want to know, baby? Let's keep it going. Let's stay above 500 all year long. Thanks for checking in, guys. Hell of a season ahead. I can't wait to share the ride with you. Bet responsibly. Only bet as much as you're willing to win. Like and subscribe. Peace.